Which brings me to
Nailed it.
the next little bit of fun we
Yeah,
have
boy.
for tonight.
Oh, boy.
My friends, we are going on a wild ride. I imagine some of you may be fans of, like, I don't know, James Bond, right? James Bond movies, spy thrillers. You know what movies I like? The Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
And Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, senseless explosions and, like, for some reason car thieves are important and the government wants them to, like, stop terrorism.
And car chases and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea why the government came to a car thief from Brooklyn or whatever, or Miami, and asked him to, like, stop a terrorist lady with a helicopter and a submarine. But hey, man, sometimes these stories are just fun. But what happens when there's no movie theaters because they're shut down? You get this.
Ooh.
Cassandra of Troy. Now, who is this lady? I don't know. But she wrote, "The more I write about this, the more it becomes plain. If Biden loses, 2020 will be the last remotely free and fair election we have for decades. And certainly, my lifetime. We are in the middle of an autocratic attempt, and it looks so much like Hungary's.
Dun,
The
dun,
courts
dun.
are being packed with loyalists. Most state legislatures and swing states are gerrymandered beyond belief. The executive branch is gaining unitary power. The Department of Justice is blatantly selectively applying the law to favor the autocrat. IGs are being destroyed." Oh, there's more. I'm going to read it. How many?
Oh, my Lanta.
It's 10 of these.
Okay.
Anyway, to drop the funny accent, the point. This has got 26,000 retweets.
But why?
Because people need James Bond to be real.
They're really bored.
They need Trump to walk in the room holding a cat, stroking it, and Joe Biden to, like, swing down from, like, a cable and go, "Ha, well, chap, time to take you out." And then, you know, Donald Trump is like, "Get him, kitty," and the cat's made of gold, and the cat turns into a robot. They need something exciting because life is boring.
Yeah.
So they write unhinged, paranoid, delusional trash like this. Let's read on.
Oh, yeah.
She says, "AGs are being replaced. Congress is no longer a check on corruption, as the Senate has been captured by Trump loyalists. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in bad shape. Ditto Breyer. Hybrid regimes, competitive authoritarianism are remarkably stable. This is why 2020 is for all the marbles. This is why I have no use for people who whinge about Biden-Harris not being far enough left for their tastes. They are under the mistaken belief that if Biden loses, they will have another chance to elect people that are far enough left for their liking. The truth is," and here we go, "if Biden and Harris lose, there isn't going to be an opportunity to elect someone they like in their lifetime, not without secession of blue states. That's the only plausible scenario I can come up with after the autocratic breakthrough. The people who study autocracy are all singing the same tune. American democracy is not strong enough to survive another 4 years." It's 4 years, dude. Come on. The TV shows last longer than that. "The guardrails are already almost completely down. This is entirely consistent with how others have fallen in the post-Cold War period. Trump's intentions are clear. So are the GOP's. While Republicans are fear-mongering the hell out of this election, Democrats refuse to call what is happening what it is for fear of sounding alarmist. Maybe this helps their chances of election. But it leaves the vast majority of the American public in the dark as to how incredibly dangerous this moment is, especially with QAnon, a group that wants enemies thrown in concentration camps, inexorably capturing the Republican Party even as it becomes autocratic. Beware, be warned, or don't. Because once this election comes and goes, if Donald J. Trump is still president on January 21st, 2021, we're effed. Democracy in America is not coming back." Dun, dun, dun. Cue the crazy music and the explosions, and you got yourself a kind of thriller, man.
This is great.
Yeah.
Thrilling. I love it.
She finishes with, "In most states, your vote no longer matters. We are rapidly approaching it at a federal level. You know that you are no longer living in a democracy because the elections in which you are participating no longer can yield political change." And I don't know, where's the you know those boxes where they pull the lever like the Wile E. Coyote would use, and like it would blow up?
Yep.
The detonation box. Cue that. As soon as she finishes, like,
No, yeah. I'm thinking she took an entire bottle of painkillers after
Dude,
this.
I would-
because holy cow.
I got a really good idea. It would be fun to like make a movie trailer with this.
Yes.
Just read this and like, you know how they do the movie trailers where the guy sounds like he's been smoking for 40 years? "The more I write about this, the more it becomes plain. If Biden loses, 2020 will be the last remotely free and fair election we have had for decades.
All right, Alex Jones.
I know. I was thinking that. Like, I should probably read this in Alex Jones' voice.
Yeah.
Except
Oh,
even Jones isn't that
they're the
unhinged.
same people. Oh
No,
my gosh.
no. Alex Jones isn't. I mean, he's screaming about other people, but he's not like talking about Trump being a dictator.
Oh my gosh.
The best part about all of this is that this worldview they've crafted is they're building a tower. That's how I imagine it, right? It's like, Rachel Maddow goes on TV and she's like, Donald Trump is a Russian. When that falls apart, what do they do with that mound of trash they've built for 3 years? Listen, if you built a nice house, you'd love and you'd respect that house and you'd say, I like this building. Now, if you built a big pile of trash to stand on, you might not like it like a house, but you're like, hey, man, I built this pile of trash.
This is my garbage.
It's my garbage.
That's right.
Don't touch my garbage. Like that possum meme. Don't touch my garbage. As much as I'm not really all that interested in the garbage, I can understand why someone, spending 3 years piling up garbage would be like, I know it's garbage, but I did put a lot into this.
Well, it's exactly like a sunken cost fallacy.
Right,
They put
right.
all their time into this, and gosh darn it, it is the best garbage
What
in
do
the
we
world.
do now?
I don't know.
So here's what ends up happening. I've built, many of us, those of you watching, we've all built nice little houses of like a coherent thought. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump has his issues, but for the most part, he's okay. And he's doing a lot of things that have been traditional in terms of like political parties. Some people have compared him to like Bill Clinton in the good way, not the bad way, like, just general populist policy and stuff. Yeah. Although I will say, I think Trump is very, very different from Bill Clinton. But some people have said, like, in terms of where he sits on the political spectrum, it's relatively similar. And the things he says, are very inviting to regular people. So we've all built these kind of little huts of coherent thought, but the left is sitting on a big pile of stinky garbage. They refuse to let go because they've put too much into it, and they keep inviting more people to the stinky garbage. And they're warning, so here's what happens. You're walking down the street and there's a fork in the road, and there's a bunch of nice little looking huts, but there's that big old pile of garbage. And there's someone standing at the fork telling you, go to the garbage pile. This woman clearly does. And then she's staring at like old faded cans of like Pepsi from the 70s. And she's reading the ingredients and screaming, did you know what's in this? And then like, I'll do a better example. With this pile of garbage, you'll have like someone find an old, a piece of like a building and there's asbestos on it. And so they start screaming about the asbestos, but nobody's using it anymore, right? It's gone. It's been removed. There's a lot of problems with it. These people who have built their garbage pile have bad information, things that make no sense. And the narrative of Russia and all this conspiracy stuff about Trump is just not true. How insane do you have to be to believe that nationally, out of like how many political offices are there in this country? Like 5,000 or 7,000?
Yeah, many.
That they're all being secretly taken over and that Trump controls them all.
Oh, this requires a lot of faith.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Even as it goes with like when it comes to the Democrats and mail-in voting, I don't think they're all sitting there in like a cabal. But I'll tell you this. I think it's really funny that she brought up QAnon. Because Q people, not all of... I think a lot of people who follow Q don't actually read what it's all about. And so there's a lot of people who have a general view of what it means. Like, Epstein and stuff like that. Which, like, we know the Epstein stuff is, like, mostly true because victims have come forward. And there's, we'll see what happens with that Maxwell lady. But like Bill Clinton has been flight logs, not to the island, but there's weird stuff. There's weird stuff around that, right? So it's like, okay. But some of these people go nuts. Like they take conspiracies go way too far. But it's funny that she brings up Q because she's like the other side of that. Trump-anon or whatever, or Clinton-anon, I don't know, whatever.
TDS lady.
Yeah,
So
well,
do you think she realizes that she sounds exactly as deranged?
No.
Or more so?
Nope. No? The reason why she brings up Q is because when she looks across the aisle, that's what she sees.
Yeah.
Like
she's on the same level.
She's the inversion of it.
Ah, yeah, got it.
So, but think about it. If the Q people think there's like a government cabal, conspiracy, and like trafficking and all this stuff, and she's claiming that Trump is an autocrat who's like stacking the courts and like going, I work for Russia, it's just as insane.
Yep.
I think Hillary Clinton and her cronyists, like the people around her, they're just crooks. I think that they've probably been involved in really bad stuff. I think it's questionable what Bill Clinton was doing with Epstein, and I think there may be something there we'll look into. But I don't think there's like a grand international Illuminati cabal, like, snatching up kids or anything like that. I mean, but hey, at least it's based in reality, I suppose.
That would be too easy, too simple, too interesting, too pat. That makes me think it's not real.
Well, I think there's something with Epstein and Clinton for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
There might be something. And Prince Andrew.
Oh,
but I think a lot of people probably take that and then immediately assume like extreme scenarios.
Like everything else is true.
I don't go there. Look, I think we know that politicians are creepy weirdos who do drugs and probably do illegal things like all the time for sure. But to go as insane as this lady, when it's like, listen, I think Hillary Clinton was bad for a lot of reasons. I think she was very crooked, and I think Joe Biden is crooked. I think Donald Trump has some questionable things you can criticize him for, but for the most part, it's in the same realm of like politics in this country. And I think Trump does love this country, and I think he is a populist, though he is himself very elite. I don't think he's all that bad, and I think they're extreme in their exaggerations of who he is. And I think a lot of people are extreme in their exaggerations of who Hillary Clinton is.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton is a crooked cronyist who played dirty with cash at her foundation and a bunch of other horrifying things, and that's corruption at the highest level.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah.
That's the thing.
What else is new?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't think she's like meeting in the basements with like giant owl statues and like praying to like pentagrams or anything like that.
Again, way too interesting.
Yeah, right.
Reality's very boring. Super often disappointing.
I mean, look, that's why I was kind of saying like what this lady is saying with this Trump conspiracy. You'd think after all these years they'd let go. It's just not real. Trump is not a secret agent. Trump is not like Kaiser. What was the guy's name? What was the World War?
Kaiser Wilhelm?
Not Wilhelm.
I don't know.
No. I'm not thinking of Kaiser Wilhelm. I'm thinking of that autocratic German dude. I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
More context. I'm sorry.
He's one of the guys who said it is better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty person escape. What was his name? I don't know. Everyone's gonna like know his name now in a second.
That was Blackstone.
No. Blackstone was the inverse. He said it's better that 10 guilty people escape than one innocent suffer.
He said innocent. Oh snap!
Yeah. So this other guy, I can't remember his name. Not people are saying Kaiser. No. Maybe maybe it wasn't the German guy. Bismarck. There you go. Who is he? Am I mixing him up with somebody else? I think I am. Anyway, the point is.
Otto von Bismarck. I will look at
Yeah. Where was he? Because he was the authoritarian guy.
Yeah, he was a decessive figure in European history. He retained control over Prussia.
There we go. See, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I had a general idea. I read something on the internet once.
Yes.
No, but this is why I'm not going to write an article about Bismarck. I don't know. I'm going to fact check it first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do this whenever I say something I'm not sure. I'll tell people, make sure you fact check me because I heard this. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
But it's interesting nonetheless. A lot of people just write garbage, but like they think Donald Trump is like having secret meetings in bunkers about with pulling out maps, and then like as soon as Trump walks downstairs, he pulls off like a fake flap of skin and there's a mustache, and then he starts speaking with they think Donald Trump is secretly a dictator trying to take over the world.
They've watched too many movies.
Yes, Donald Trump is like wearing his personality on his sleeve. Like
they can't accept that.
He is a boisterous, egotistical TV personality, reality TV real estate mogul who he loves America. He does international trade deals, and he thought he could do better than everybody else, and he knows people, and he won. And he made the economy work really, really well, but he didn't really understand how government works because he's not a politician.
Yep. So
he did some things wrong. He hired some bad people, and I think he's starting to figure out and do a better job. He's a smart guy. I think it's crazy when they call him stupid. You got to be arrogant beyond all recognition to assume someone like Donald Trump is stupid.
That is insanely wishful thinking to think that Donald Trump is stupid. No.
Impulsive?
Maybe.
Arrogant?
Sure.
But the guy, I think it's hilarious when they say things like his unsuccessful business. And whenever I hear my friends say something like that, I'm like, which one? And they're like, the one he declared bankruptcy on. I'm like, okay, first of all, which one? Yeah. Second of all, he had like 500 plus businesses and declared bankruptcy like a handful of times. And bankruptcy doesn't even mean you failed. It's like debt protection. So like, which one? They don't even know, do they? I once had a bottle of Trump water and a Trump steak. And they were complaining in the media at that time that the companies were defunct. And I'm like, Trump's companies like Trump Magazine and Trump Water, they service his properties. So they were saying like all these things failed, and I'm like, no, he just sells them. It's a company. He makes it, and then he sells it to his own company.
Right.
But they're too obsessed with their like movie reality world. And I have to wonder, there are some people on Twitter who are unhinged. And normally I say that, kind of in an exaggerated tone.
No.
Some of these people are literally mentally ill. Not kidding. I'm not going to name the specific individuals because I don't want to, I don't want to send people over to these mentally ill profiles. But there are some Twitter people with hundreds of thousands of followers who are quite literally mentally ill.
To be fair, there are a lot of people on Twitter, and statistically speaking, some of them are likely to be mentally ill. And frankly, Twitter kind of caters to the obsessive compulsive tendencies and makes people stirred up into a frenzy.
Neurodivergent.
Yeah.
I remember someone recently asked me what does that mean? What is neurodivergent? And I'm like, it is the Tumblr way of saying you are mentally ill.
Yes.
Neurodivergent.
Yes. It really just means your brain goes in two different directions.
Or it goes in the wrong direction.
Yep. All of the wrong directions.
There are some people who've tweeted really, really crazy things, saying things like Steve Bannon is going to be hanged for treason or something. No joke.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to name these people, but
again, too many movies.
I'm sure everybody knows who I'm talking about right now.
What the heck?
But they're admittedly mentally ill. What's crazy is Twitter verifies them. And listen, what you got to understand is that if I come to you and say, do you want to go to the park? And you go, why? What's happening at the park? I don't know. I don't know. Someone with like a dog was there. You'll be like, dogs are cool, but that sounds kind of boring.
Yeah.
What if I walked in and said, dude, we got to go to the park? Why? There's like clowns and like a giraffe came in and then like some dude was juggling knives and there's like flamethrowers. Like, whoa, what? Yeah, flamethrowers, dude, come on. You'd be like, okay, let's go to the park.
Right.
Then you go and there's nothing there. So what's happening is these people on Twitter, some people will be like, Donald Trump today, said he wants to build houses in low-income areas or whatever. And then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Is that news? Nobody clicks it.
Yep.
So what do they have to do? Donald Trump, who's Hitler, wants to build homes to force impoverished people into internment.
Oh, snap.
And then people are like, whoa, and they click it. And they go to the article, and it's like the Housing and Development Project for the less
wait
fortunate.
Wait a second, but you already gave them your click.
That's the framing thing they do.
Yeah.
And then women like this, the Cassandra lady, who's like, Donald Trump is an autocrat trying to take over, and we'll never have an election again. It's like, whoa, lady, calm down. I would make a joke about taking some kind of medication, but this is a show with a lot of people, and I might get in trouble for doing so. But in a normal private setting, I'd make a ton of jokes about medication.
I probably already made too many jokes.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's about to go over the edge, poor lady.
Here's the funniest thing about it. Check out this story from the Daily Caller. Judge orders an Iowa county to invalidate 50,000 absentee ballot requests. Oh.
Huh. How about that?
I just read this and I'm like, it's the exact opposite of everything they're claiming about Trump.
I thought this was all without evidence, Timothy.
Why are they invalidating 50,000 absentee ballot requests?
Let's find out.
Lynn County Auditor Joel Miller issued 140,000 absentee ballots in July that were already pre-filled with voters' personal information, such as their date of birth and, most importantly, voter identification numbers. According to the AP, Miller said he wanted to make it easy for voters to vote absentee during the pandemic, per the same report. However, Judge Ian Thornhill ruled that Miller's mailing of the ballots violated a clear directive from Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pate, who said absentee ballots forms must be blank when sent to voters, according to the AP.
Oh.
Thornhill has ordered Miller to notify voters who received pre-filled out ballot their ballot cannot be processed. Instead, they can either vote in person on Election Day or request new absentee ballots. Miller has agreed to send out the new blank forms. So it's actually not what we thought it was, but it's still kind of fraud.
Yeah.
The initial fraud, it seemed like, or impropriety, was that people were sending in their requests and getting nuked.
Right.
As it turns out, somebody was trying to send out pre-filled forms to people.
So
that seems shady.
Does it seem shady to you? Because it
Yes.
seems like if he was doing that in good faith, I understand wanting to make voting as easy as possible.
No way.
You don't think he was acting in good faith?
I don't.
Okay.
Because so listen, sitting right in front of me, I love pointing to this thing.
It's still there.
Is a mail-in ballot.
I don't know what to do
Not
with
an
it.
application. Literal ballot that came to my house for someone who does not live here. What if they filled out that person's personal information, including voter ID number?
We have all their information now?
And what would happen if some hokey old dumb lady, she goes to her mailbox, she's like, what's this? For who? I can't read it. And she opens it. wrongly.
Oh,
And then
no.
she's looking through it and she's like, who's Jimmy? What's this social security number and bank account information? Let me just punch this into Amazon and I'm going to order some books. I'm kidding. But if they send out all that pre-filled out information,
That's true. That's a big breach.
there's a lot of people who probably get mail and just tear it all open without looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like going through bills, they got a stack and they're just ripping things open. Especially if it's like a married couple and they're like, the mail is just to them, the kids are moved out.
Yeah.
They're going to get someone's mail. They're going to open and be like, John Smith, voter ID number. Whoa, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to have their private information.
Yep.
So presumably, you know, we get this ballot sent here because this person used to live here. That would be the same thing that would happen to them, but they would get access to other information. They'd have their name and their voter ID number. I don't know what else would be included in it. Party affiliation maybe or something. I don't know.
I think so.
Well, that's dirty.
Yeah.
So here's why I bring this one up, because they like to play this game where they're accusing Donald Trump of being the fraudster who's trying to take over the world or whatever. And the problems are coming from their demands. It's been this way the entire time. You know, Donald Trump has made his mistakes in fighting them, but he's won. I think about like Russiagate really is crazy. The Obamagate stuff and the Russiagate stuff. So basically they were accusing Trump of working for the Russians. They wouldn't stop. And then Trump made the mistake of saying, can you make it go away? And then firing Comey.
Can you blame him for wanting it to
No,
go away?
and he's allowed to do that. He was allowed to fire Comey. And then they went nuts and they were like screeching and they won't stop. But you know what? Based on what we were talking about earlier, you know what I think it is? Our sphere of influence on the internet is growing and the establishment sphere of influence is shrinking. And they're crying and panicking about it, and there's nothing they can do. But I tell you, as they drown, they will violently thrash about.
I'm seeing it.
And they got, you know, kitty's got claws, man.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this: when you see someone drowning, you have to be very careful about how you approach them because they will pull you down too.
Yep.
I'm not an expert, but you go around behind them.
Yeah, I think you come up behind them and grab them.
Yeah, and then swim backwards.
Ribcage.
But if you go up to them and they grab you, they'll just pull you down, and you'll both drown.
Because they're freaking out.
That's what the mainstream media is doing right now.
Yeah.
And that's why all these personalities on Twitter are going like, Trump's a dictator. And then they go home and they're shaking as they pour wine and they're like,
So much wine.
I'm imagining, like when I do that wine shaking, I'm imagining it's Alyssa Milano.
Oh
She's
my
like,
gosh.
orange man, he's orange. And the orange thing is a real, no, you're laughing, but she actually,
I know. It's
she actually
she said
tweeted
it. I know. He's
So-
not sorry that he's orange or whatever.
He's not sorry that he's orange. The funniest
Sorry,
thing,
Alyssa.
she tweeted out this big, long, unhinged thread where she's like, Joe Rogan has 3 times the viewers that I do. And I'm like,
honey. Oh.
do you mean like 3 orders of magnitude?
Yes. That's what
like,
she meant.
3 times? No.
I think we have 3 times listeners. She does.
No, we have more than that.
Oh my goodness.
We have way more than that.
Okay, I
Dude,
was
she doesn't
trying to
even
be
she doesn't even
generous.
chart. She's not even on any charts. She probably gets like 100 downloads. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't think. Well, no, that's not fair. She does have a few thousand reviews, so you know maybe she's getting, I don't know, a few thousand maybe. But anyway, one of her tweets was like in all caps, "He's orange, and it's part of his strategy to be orange, and they don't care." And I'm like, what? I don't care.
It's part of the brand. It's the orange. Come on.
He's not like okay. You've seen how they try to make him look more orange, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's there was one that was really funny where he was literally glowing. And I'm like, dude, okay, you guys definitely overdid this because the dude's not radioactive.
Was that the one where he was walking towards the plane and his hair was blowing back?
No, but that one was
That
bad.
was crazy
like,
too.
what?
They
and,
shopped it.
And it looked like, they made him look like a clown.
Yeah.
So weird. They like desaturated around him.
Yeah.
No, it was one where it was like, I think it was CNN or something, and he was literally glowing because they upped the saturation too much.
I gotta find it now.
And I'm just
Let's look it up
like, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump's skin isn't radioactive, because like I don't know what generates an orange glow, but I'm assuming it's some kind of quantum function pertaining to radioactivity.
No one should be glowing.
No, but that's the media, man. It's funny when you look at like CNN's personalities, like Oliver Darcy and
He's
Brian,
had some
Brian
doozies
Stelter.
lately.
Oh man, what did he tweet? What did Darcy tweet today? That like the right wing media and like Kyle Rittenhouse is a proof of radicalization.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but 3 months of mass rioting and 30 people dead, that's not radicalization.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Great.
radicalize anyone.
No, but think about it. It's like 3 months, nonstop riots, 30 people dead, crickets. Mm-hmm. One guy shows up after 3 months, 2 people die, and they're screaming at the top of their
Hair on
lungs.
Fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite was from Brian Stelter, because he was railing about how much I think it was Tucker Carlson makes. So you want to know what I did? I did a little Google search. How much does Brian Stelter make? You know how much Brian Stelter makes?
I do. Tell me.
Exactly how much he was accusing Tucker Carlson making. Yeah.
Brian Stelter, how much is that?
So he was accusing Tucker Carlson. I think it was Tucker Carlson. He was saying he makes $10 million a year. I was like, okay, that seems low, first of all. And let's see how much Brian Stelter makes. So Brian Stelter makes $10 million a year.
No way. I don't buy that.
Weird. Yeah,
I don't believe it.
I looked it up.
No way.
I gotta
Brian
find the tweet.
Stelter on CNN's lowest rated show versus the highest rated cable TV news show in history.
Let me see.
It's possible. I'll tell you what. Tucker Carlson signed a contract, and he probably got a lower number because it was a new show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. When Tucker renegotiates, he's going to be the highest paid man in television.
Here's an article from CNN. As Tucker Carlson justifies violence, Fox News is paying him $10 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Which
is Brian Stelter really getting $10 million a year? I don't buy it, man.
I found it. Google said it. It's on the internet. It's true.
Maybe. I mean, but, CNN's been downsizing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a Sunday morning show on the news. Like
Stelter, yeah.
His show is about the news.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he only ever has on like people in his bubble who say the exact same things to each other.
It's like literally listening to echoes.
It's like listening to Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, so it's like if you took like a bunch of Pokemon and all they did was sit in a room and sang their names over and over again, like there's no meaningful conversation. I guess if you're a Pokemon and you like hearing someone say Pikachu 7,000 times.
That sounds like fun.
But it's really funny when you compare like the style of a lot of these shows on like MSNBC or CNN versus any podcast. And I mean even small podcasts where they'll have like, I don't care. You could take two random people and have them talk, random off the street. You know, it's a good idea for a man in the street. Take a random guy and another random guy and then have them talk about politics.
Yeah.
That would be
fun.
way more interesting and informative than anything those people are doing on Sunday morning, CNN show.
True.
They're like, did you see that Donald Trump is a fascist? I did. And the right-wing media is lying. I know, the right-wing media. Did you see Fox News, what they said? Fox News did say things. The dude,
the Fox News review
Brian Stelter wrote a book about Fox News. Wow.
You know what I think?
That's his world.
I think Brian Stelter wishes he worked for Fox News.
It
makes him really sad.
It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer tries to join the club, but they call it the No Homers Club.
Oh, no.
And then he's like, but you let in the other Homer. And they're like, it's the No Homers. We're allowed to have one. Yeah. So it's like, then he joins the Freemasons. So it's like Brian Stelter sitting outside of Fox News going like, Fox News is so dumb. They didn't even do anything. And he's like looking at Fox News and like a tear rolls down his cheek. He wants to. Sad. He's like, I want to go inside Fox News. He never quite cut it. No, I don't think the guy ever really wanted to work for Fox News. I think he was a media reporter for New York Times. I guess he interviewed me back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, for the New York Times. And
you
then
guys are the same age.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
He seemed like a grandma. You seem like a skater dude.
I know.
You're totally. It's like.
I gotta say, it may have something to do with the fact that I exercise every day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and assume he doesn't.
Yep, that seems.
He
safe.
should.
Yep.
And everybody should.
Absolutely, everybody should.
Yeah. I don't mean that as a dig. I mean that as staying fit makes you look younger.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but like I dress like some
you do
rando.
dress younger.
I don't wear a suit or anything. If I wore a suit, people would be like, "Who's that strange man?" No, my real criticism is about the fact that they've made a whole show based on just Fox News, and it's like, listen, I understand I have my biases. I rag on CNN too, but I rag on MSNBC and ABC and the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Democrats.
All of them.
And if you want to rag on the Republicans, I totally get it. I'm down. Like, I think, I have my criticisms of some of the progressive and left-wing pundits on YouTube for sure, but I respect what they do. They don't like Republicans. I get it. I don't like them either, but my focus lies elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think the biggest threat to our nation is Donald Trump. And there are pundits on YouTube who don't think the world is ending either. I mean, I think we're facing dire straits. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the world is going to explode and Donald Trump is literally Hitler. But I think we're going to face like real street violence and chaos and stuff like that. But there are other left-wing pundits who will just be like, Trump is bad. We should vote for somebody else because policy reasons. But you turn on MSNBC and Rachel Maddow's like, Russia is going to turn off our electricity. And I'm like, wow, Rachel, that was so deep up your...
That's a way out there. Yes.
You had to reach into that magic hat and pull it out. And
Oh, that magic hat.
pulling random stuff out. I remember when Donald
funny
Trump said
rabbits.
that she had blood coming out of her eyes and ears or her whatever, and they turned it into like, you remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, he didn't say it. He stopped himself, and you don't know what he was going to say out of her eyes and her ears, out of her whatever, and they turned it into a sexual thing. Yeah, that's so dumb.
Ugh. It's all so tiresome.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.